Oh yes, we are back again. Happy Wednesday out there. We did a impromptu live stream Q&A yesterday, and it went over pretty well. So we're gonna do one yet again today, since everyone's in quarantine, all that stuff. Yeah, and there's a lot of things going on with the Vikings today. Most recently, the just absolute WTF cutting Josh Klein. I understand he wouldn't take a pay cut, but also he was your second best offensive lineman last year. And the fact that you're not saving a lot of money, in fact, you're taking a pretty sizable dead cap hit, I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, unless there's a plan, unless Stefan Wisniewski is going to be signed, unless there's going to be a trade for Joe Thuney, unless you are completely 100% sold on Oli Udo and Drew Samio, unless you're fully going to hammer into your offensive lineman with your 12 draft picks, I don't get it. It seems pretty ridiculous. Like, this is people are comparing this to the Alex Boone move. Like, sign a guy to a big free agent contract, cut him a year later. No, this is different from Alex Boone in the fact that Josh Klein was actually good. Josh Klein is actually good and actually worth the money. So the fact that you're in such a tough cap situation that you decide just to eat that 4.4 million dead, that post June 1st cut, you're gonna spread it over, whatever. Every time this team gets my hopes up that they're going to do something smart, they just do something completely stupid. But we got your Qs. We got some A's as well as in the live chat. Toss them in there as well. If you want to send in a super chat, toss a couple bucks our way. Toss a couple bucks in the hat. We'll make sure to answer your questions there. So first one, Ted Vick. Top 6 wide receivers replace Diggs. Thoughts on each of these guys? Jerry. All right, I'm going to read this whole thing. So Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Laviska Shenault, Antonio Gandy Golden, and Brandon Ayuk. I would put Ruggs in there as well. Although, Ruggs, a bit of a one-trick pony. Like, I know I got crap for saying that the other day, but kind of is. But Jerry Jeudy is numero uno. But I could see a world where Jerry Jeudy ends up being the second, maybe even third receiver off the board just because of his testing numbers, which aren't great. Lambs and, of course, Ruggs are pretty damn stellar. T. Higgins, I really like. I think he'll be in range for the Vikings late first round. Just a big body, go up and get it type dude. I mean, he's like a taller Nuke Hopkins. Not as polished of a route runner, not as good as getting separation, but just body size wise, you just love it. Laviska Shenault, guy we profiled a couple weeks ago from Colorado. He really is a do-it-all guy. You worry about his long-term health. Antonio Gandy Golden, I believe it's from Liberty. Either way, a small school dude, could be another small school gem. I really like taking chances on just like small school receivers. I'm still thinking that Donald Parham, the tight end from Stetson, is going to work out. I think he's a journeyman. He might have been in the XFL. I don't really know. And then Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State, I think. Haven't really dug too much on him, so we'll come back to you later with a better answer. Roger Revolt, regret. Would you be upset if the Vikings drafted both Jonah Jackson and Nathani Moody in the third round? I think it would be cool to get them both. Both are potential start day one immediate improvement into your offensive line. Well, at this point, no. I would be absolutely amazed. Like, Nathani Moody, he injury risk for sure. Upside is off the charts. Not a perfect scheme fit. Jonah Jackson, on the hand, is a perfect scheme fit. I would be fine with both of them there. So you'd have an interior offensive line as of right now, where you potentially kicking Oli Udo inside, potentially kicking Riley Reif inside if you do pick up one of the top 5, top 6 tackles in this draft. And then you're doubling down onto your offensive line. So you'd have Samia, potentially Udo, potentially Riley Reif, and then Jonah Jackson and Nathani Moody tossing there. I would be down to clown with that. I'm absolutely in right there. Paul Morris. What current Vikings jersey do you recommend buying, or should I wait to see in the draft now that Diggs is gone? I always advise people buy jerseys of former players. I'm not talking about like Alex Boone or something like that. No, I'm talking about legends like Carl Eller, like Alan Page, like Chris Carter, like Randy Moss. Get your 84 jerseys out. Go, spend a couple extra bucks. Go and get a really nice stitched Mitchell and Ness jersey. Now I'm talking about like legit, authentic, not like the cheap Chinese knockoffs where the jerseys are actually like blue. Like, the ones I'm talking about. You see the pop-up ads that I know this is malware, and I know that I'm giving all my information to the Chinese government, but I don't care. This jersey is $22. Yeah, those ones. What am I saying? Oh, get an old school, or get a Fran Tarkenton, or ooh, Randall Cunningham, number 7. So sexy. So sexy. Eric Anderson, thanks for keeping the content coming, bro. What are your all right, so current Vikings, I would say Danielle Hunter. It's a pretty safe bet. Thielen, I think Thielen's going to end his career here with the Vikings. And Brian O'Neill, if you want to go offensive lineman, for sure. I think Kendricks, sure. There you go. Eric Anderson. Thanks for keeping the content coming, bro. What are your expectations for BC and Irv in year 2? I think Irv is going to take on a lot more of the working from the slot, stretch the field type role. I think he will become a true joker tight end like he was used at Alabama. And I think Olabisi Johnson, like the Vikings are going to add day 1, day 2 wide receiver help for sure, and absolutely they should. But I think BC Johnson, this is a great opportunity for him to really step up as that wide receiver too. And I think that he is mature enough. I think he's got the route running separation enough to do it. Of course, he had a really great season last year. 3 touchdowns as a 7th round freaking pick. Just another full year in camp, another full year in this offense. I really do expect big things from Olabisi Johnson year 2. We're actually going to do full video on him tomorrow. Money waste. With all of our positional needs and Linval gone, in which round should we draft a defensive tackle? I'd say right now, day 2, be looking in there. Honestly, it's kind of Gallimore or bust for me. I know it's weird to really target fixate on a guy who's going to be in day 2, but a Gallimore from Oklahoma, I really love. James Lynch from Baylor is another guy that I think could play inside, outside as well. Don't want to say John Randall, man, but next up, Jason Kim. What picks in the second? What picks in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds to trade up to land Jeff Okudah, weed corners? Yeah, we've done this in a couple of our mocks where we've given up a significant amount of future draft capital just to get up and get Okudah, where I actually think that he could fall. And I mean, some teams may like C.J. Henderson out of Florida better than Okudah, even though I think Okudah is pretty clearly cornerback 1 in this class. So, I mean, if he starts to fall, Vikings obviously have a big need at cornerback. Go get him. I mean, you have the draft capital either this year or you could slightly mortgage the future next year. Just go get him. Mason Large, love the channel, man. Love you, man. Just started watching within last year. It's been crazy seeing the channel grow. Would you rather the Vikings take Henry Ruggs III or T. Higgins? Given the choice, it's kind of close. Just a guy to take the top off the defense like Ruggs would be really great in this offense. I think Cousins does throw one of the better deep balls in this league. But I think just T. Higgins in terms of he does have some deep ball prowess as well, but in terms of just a very solid, big body possession dude, as well as a guy who can do some damage in the red zone, I would take Higgins. HuskGamer15, will the draft happen live, and will you stream your reaction to the picks? I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, all it is reading of names. I mean, you don't need all the pomp and circumstance, so we'll certainly be doing a lot of content there. We'll probably do it like last year where we'll do a profile of each pick after they're selected, and damn it, the Vikings have 12 picks. Because I remember day 3 was such a freaking slog because they had like 9 picks on day 3. And it was just eyes bleeding. Oh, I have to look up something about Austin Cutting, the Air Force long snapper. Great. Yeah. Adam White Jr., Senior. Sorry. Can we dump Barr off as a package deal somehow? I know people are saying they ain't going to go for this. Great guy for, of course, just a good rush linebacker. No one's going to take on that contract, as well as we've talked about that. Anthony Barr has a very unique position. It's very unique to the Zimmer defense, and I don't think that he necessarily has great 1-for-1 value anywhere else. So, no. Joe was which player from this draft class do you not want the Vikings to draft? I don't really have like a hard, firm no on anyone in this draft. This isn't like last year where I was really out on Greg Little, and so then the Vikings were doing their homework on him. He was a offensive lineman from Ole Miss, ends up he's with the Panthers now. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Same thing with Titus Howard. Same thing with Max Sharping, where I liked Howard and Sharping as projects, except where they ended up being drafted. I knew that they would have to be contributors right away. I wasn't really down for that. But no, I've never really have a spot where I'm like completely fixated on a singular name. It's usually a strata of a couple of players that I'm fine with, minus Jerry Jeudy, minus Jeff Okudah in this draft. And yeah, there's really no one that I'm just like completely stay away, especially since we're not really delving in the quarterbacks because I don't think they're going to be drafting a quarterback with Kirk Cousins on that 2-year extension. Eric Normal. And also, Cousins is basically LeBron now. He is the GM. Don't get it twisted. Eric Normal. What is your strong impression the Vikings will do at pick 22 and 25? I think it'll be a handful of BPA between a couple of positions, which I know is sort of oxymoronic with BPA, but I think that they really need to come away with one of the top 5 offensive tackles. So that'd be Wirfs, Wills, Thomas, Becton, and I put Josh Jones on there. You can put Austin Jackson there as like a 5A if you want to. That's fine. But also cornerback, potentially safety, except we've talked about here. I think top of the second round, if the Vikings can maneuver up there, I think that's going to be the really sweet spot for the top 3 safeties, Delpit, McKinney, Winfield Jr. And then also be looking at wide receivers. But also, I don't think you necessarily need to force a wide receiver. I've been thinking about this. And if you don't get any of the big 5, like for some reason there's a big run on wide receivers, or if you like some offensive linemen or cornerbacks better, I mean, this is such a great deep receiver class. Tyler Johnson might be a 5th round pick. I mean, that's just how insanely deep this class is. So I wouldn't really sweat about if they don't get, say, Judy's off the board, Ruggs and Lamb are off the board. And yeah, I like Higgins, but maybe they're not down to clown with Higgins. Like, I don't think they need to force a wide receiver 22 or 25, like Denzel Mims or whatever, just to take one. Tyler, what players do you think the Vikings should try trading for? Well, Anthony Harris to the Browns for the number 41 overall pick, and then parlay that pick to the Patriots for Joe Thuney, and then sign Joe Thuney to a long-term deal with a low 2020 cap hit. Spread that out to the future years when the cap goes up, once the new CBA kicks in, and just live life. Zach Hazlius, how much cap space do we now have that Diggs contract is off our books? Can we sign a top offensive lineman yet? I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head. It was something like 13 after Josh Klein, ballpark. I mean, it's constantly changing. Samson Romaine, do you have another job, or is purple for the win your main gig? Love the channel. Keep it up. This MF and Bull. Lots of people ask this one. So I have a couple of main gigs. This is just one of the great side hustles where, obviously it's a lot of work, brings in a little something, which is nice. But just the fact that I have the freedom with some of my other gigs to make this very time intensive. And I mean, I just love coming on here, talking junk, and it keeps growing and showing every single day. And it's because of you. And because you're tuning in, because you're giving us ratings, because you're getting us sponsors, all that stuff. And thank you very much for allowing us to do this. Hair fine. The world just feels weird right now with the virus. Yeah. Gives you a chance to sit back and watch Con Air. Also, did you know that they're all 4 of the Pierce Brosnan 007 movies are on Netflix? Din, 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 din. Drew Smith, should the Vikings bring Eric Wilson back? Yep, they tagged him, tendered him. Also, how big of a problem would it be if the Vikings lost Everson in addition to Linval for agency? That is a big loss of veteran leadership. I think statically on the field, I think Everson's production can be replaced. I think Fadio Denebo is really rising up, but also that really creates a need at edge rusher in the draft, even more so if Everson returned. But as of right now, I mean, I think Everson's going to get a decent chunk of money somewhere, but I don't know if the Vikings can necessarily compete at this point. Next up, Mason Large. Will the Vikings kick some Buccaneer ass this year? Oh, yeah. Vikings play the Bucs this year. Yeah, we're going to put Tom Brady on his ass. It's going to be great. M. Schwartz, 23. What veteran corner do you see them signing? I think Desmond Trufant from the Falcons just got cut. He's an interesting name, as well as has Jason Verrett signed? I mean, free agency. I mean, it's like I should. Verrett signed with did he sign with the Niners, or is this from last year? All right, no, that last year. So, yeah, Jason Verrett played with the Niners last year. Honestly, if his health checks out, I would certainly be in on that. Oh, the Patriots signed Bo Allen? You mean Chris Hovan 2.0? It's weird. All right, let's see what else here. Harvey Melber. I like a point about Barr not having trade value. So what could the Vikings package possibly get? A third first round pick. Woo, hook it up with a flare mug. I I think if they ended up trading Harris to the Browns for that second round pick, and then they would have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. I think that's plenty of ammunition if they want to sneak back into the back end of the first round. Package 2 twos or 2 and 3 and a 4, whatever. Nicholas Meyer, go after Robbie Anderson for agency. How much money do you think he can get? I think Robbie Anderson is going to get stupid money. I think he could get $14-15 million a year. I don't think the Vikings can afford it. I think that's just a luxury right now. He's going to get paid somewhere. Mason Large, in the scenario we get the Browns second rounder for Harris, would you rather take one of the best safeties in the draft or slightly overdraft for a cornerback? Well, I don't think you need to overdraft for a cornerback either, because it's not exactly as deep as receiver, but it's pretty deep. I mean, there's probably about a dozen cornerbacks that will be bunched up day 1, day 2 that I will be fine coming away with. And if we do get the Browns second round pick, like I said, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 6 picks in the top 105, you don't really need to push it. And also, I think 41, like we talked about, is going to be that sweet spot for the 3 safeties, whether you like Delpit, Xavier, McKinney, or Winfield. So I don't think you need to force things. That's the great thing about having, what would be 13 picks, is that you can just sit and chill and just let the draft come to you. Donovan Lee, hey man, love your work so much. Love you, man. How much will it take to get Robbie Anderson? A lot. I know it'd be a long shot, but just wondering. I said probably about $14-15 million. Nick Paulson, what can the Vikes expect for comp picks for 2021 draft? I think, I forget who tweeted this out, but they ballparked it. 3rd rounder for Waynes and a 6th rounder for Weatherly, or 6th or 7th rounder for Weatherly so far. That does not include potentially losing Anthony Harris, although if they trade him on the tag, that does not count. But if they rescind the tag and then he just leaves, that would count. Also, Mac Alexander. I don't believe Everson would count in that equation. Also, Xavier and Linval don't count because they were actually cut instead of the contracts expiring. Drew Smith. How do you feel the Vikings took a flyer on HaHa Clinton Dix at the safe position for agency? Nah. I had Deshpande. How available is Irv Smith Jr. going to be to our offense this year? How close do you think he is to reaching a ceiling? I think he's just scratching the surface. I think the first year was a little bit of training wheels, as well as Kyle Rudolph having a really phenomenal stepping up year. So it's weird. The transition from college tight end to NFL tight end, like if you're into fantasy football, you know that rookie tight ends are sort of stay away. But I think Irv Smith, with the departure of Diggs, is going to have a really big role in this offense going forward, especially since the Vikings are sticking with the run first, heavy formation, 2 tight ends on the field. I think Irv Smith is going to get a lot of work. Ted Vick asks, where do babies come from? Green Bay. Oh, I get it. Skull Vikes. What are your predictions on these positions? Starting cornerbacks, Linval's replacement. Oh boy. All right. Starting cornerbacks are going to be Mike Hughes, rookie TBD. Mike Hughes, Mac Alexander, rookie TBD, who comes in as the 3rd cornerback, and then Mac kicks into the slot. Linval's replacement is going to be Armand Watts. I love Armand Watts. He can play 3-tech, he can play nose tackle in a pinch. I think he's going to be legit. But of course, on early downs, it's going to be Shamar Stephen. Yeah. Wide receiver 2 is going to be a combination of rookie TBD as well as BC Johnson. Well, no, it'd be more fun to add names. So starting cornerbacks are going to be Mike Hughes, Bryce Hall, and Mac Alexander. Wide receiver 2 is going to be a combination of Olabisi Johnson and T. Higgins. Left tackle is going to be Josh Jones. Left guard is going to be Drew Samia. Backup quarterback is going to be Sean Mannion. Eric Moe. Should the Vikings side Robbie Anderson, Brashad Perriman, another free agent wide receiver? Our guy Doogie was in on Brashad Perriman. Perriman was terrible with the Ravens for a lot of years, former first-round pick, captain dropsies. Then he had a really nice resurgent year with the Bucs last year, respect. And I think he could be had in free agency for relatively cheap. I mean, sort of have to be at this point. But yeah, it's much more realistic to get Perriman than Robbie Anderson at this point. Roger Revolt, regret. And again, hey, if you guys got some more questions, toss them in the live stream chat as a super chat. We'll make sure to see them. A big fan of Tevin Agim at D tackle. Could be a mid-round option to replace Linval. Also, if you had Roasters Barbecue in St. Paul, you don't know barbecue like you say. Best smoking. Bet. Haven't done a lot of work on Agim. Actually, I haven't done a lot of work on interior offensive line. I really need to do that, so I'll get you a better answer at a later point. I have not had a Roosters barbecue in St. Paul as of yet, but we'll put it on the to-do list after we get unquarantined, unless they have takeaway. Elias Roosted, do you think the Vikings should try trade Pat Elflein? No one will give you anything for him. If so, where to and what can you get for him? Nowhere and nothing. That's all. Michael Baez. This entire guard situation with Josh Klein and Pat Elflein. Did you guys ever watch the movie Walk the Line? And after Johnny Cash's, a child Johnny Cash's older brother is killed, the father, Robert Patrick, T3000 or whatever it was, they took the wrong son. They took the wrong one. That's exactly like this situation. They took the wrong guard. Come on. Michael Baez. What will be the next big move the Vikings do? I have no idea. Trade or sign through free agency, and if so, who? I'll say sign Brashad Perriman or Desmond Trufant. Paul Morris. Who do you think the Vikings' number one need is now? Guards, plural. Jacob Worley. Do you think Alexander Hollins will step into a bigger role next year with Diggs leaving? I do like Hollins. I do like our guy Davion Davis from Sam Houston State as well. But Hollins, Eastern Illinois, was flirting with the roster back and forth on the practice squad. I think that there's certainly an opportunity there. And also, I noted this last year where you look at Davion Davis, you look at Dylan Mitchell, you look at BC, you look at Alexander Hollins. They all fit the mold of a 6'1" or lower, slight of frame, great route runners who can get open. I mean, they're all Stephon Diggs replacements. They're all Stephon Diggs clones taken in the late rounds or UDFAs. So I think they're throwing darts. They already hit a bullseye with BC Johnson. We'll see if one of the other three guys step up. Foreign Savage 87. Do you like Indian food? If yes, what's your favorite dish? I'm from India and interested in what Americans think of Indian food. I do like Indian food. I actually like a lot of curry on stuff. As far as like Indian dishes, tikka masala, relatively basic there. But I don't have Indian food too much because the wife doesn't care for it. But I really like just coming up with the peppers and the curry and the ginger and just making it like a really nice broth and sauce, and then just getting some chicken, lots of vegetables, some really nice jasmine rice in there, and also just adding the yogurt. The key is the yogurt, by the way. People sleep on the yogurt, and also the flatbread. It's phenomenal, just really, really good. Gage Sandin, also a shout out to India. Gage Sandin, what do you think we can get for Harris? I think the top end is a mid second round pick, mid to high second round pick. Sam Moros, do you think that Joe Burrow should be the first overall pick this year? If not, who? I'm not sold on Joe Burrow. I'm really not. I think he had a phenomenal single season, great supporting cast, actually amazing supporting cast. I don't know if he's ready to carry a franchise. Like he had a phenomenal year, Heisman Trophy winner, respect. I don't know if he has staying power. I just really don't. Landon Miller. Do you call us Jerome because Korean soldiers referred to American soldiers as Jerome in the Korean War? Should Afadi be a starter? And should I buy his jersey now that Diggs is gone from a true Jerome? No. I've explained the Jerome things before. I actually got to save that for another video. Keep you guys in suspense, but it's not that. Afadi, I think if they pass on Everson, Afadi should be a starter. And even if Everson's back, I think Afadi deserves starter-esque reps in a rotation. And I would triple check what number Afadi's going to settle on before you buy an Afadi jersey. I don't know if he's going to stick with 95. Jabrisky, why do you think we cut Josh Klein? They wanted a pay cut. He said no. They're like, hold my beer. We're just going to eat all this dead cap to save $1.5 million. So stupid. Plus, he had $1.8 million guaranteed. How much were we really going to cut it back? It's just... Dylan Tobin, are you worried about the Vikings on defense with Lune Joseph, possibly losing Everson, the majority of the secondary with not a lot of money to spend? Thoughts? Well, they were terrible last year with everyone. That is my reply. Zimmer's supposed to be this amazing defensive guru. Let's see him coach him up all these young jabronis. Bryce Bernhardt, do you think Diggs was prompted to wear that Cardinal shirt by his agent? Do you think Diggs woke up today happy to be a Bill? Last one, do you think Diggs will ever return the back to sound the Gallon? Maybe he was prompted by his agent, but also Diggs is very aware about his trolliness on social media. I'm sure it it coincided with his trying to angle out of town, which is fine. Let's hear. Do you think Diggs woke up happy to be a Bill? I don't know. I mean, their passing game is interesting. Josh Allen is just far too inaccurate for me. Like, I understand he could throw it a country mile, except he'll throw a country mile and 200 yards overthrown of Diggs wide open on a post route. First time that happens, you just watch the antics. Will Diggs ever be back to sound the Gallahorn? I mean, maybe. I mean, time, of course, heals all wounds, and as you get older, you do mature. Maybe Diggs will grow out of this, and I'm sure in 20. Gosh, I can't do math as an Asian. What the hell? 2042, the 25-year anniversary of the Minneapolis Miracle. They'll get everyone back together. I'm sure Diggs and Case Keenum will blow the Gallahorn together, and it'll be great. Marcus Hudgens, should we at least get a late-round quarterback or Josh Rosen for future's sake? Agree. Well, it looks like that ship sailed. Maybe they take a late-round quarterback, but I actually think that they're okay with Jake Browning, which is just frustrating. Number 2, I know you're on Judy being from Norman. I've got to say CD will be the better talent. Thoughts? I do think that CD's ceiling is probably higher than Judy's, but I just think that Judy's floor is just massively head and shoulders above everyone else. I think he's NFL ready from day one. But yeah, the physical attributes of CD for sure is something that you can't ignore. Number 3, what's your top 5 out of everything in existence? I like everything in existence. So take away like family and friends, because those are clearly up top. Just like material possessions. I don't know. The internet would be up there. Sure. Weaponry. Man, this is a tough one. So general like top 5. World peace. I don't know. Stock market. I don't know. That's a really tough question. I'd have to give that one some thought to give it an actual answer. All right. So, oh yeah, what is going on with the chat? How come some of you guys are ready to jump off a cliff? It's Wednesday, man, of the off season. Free agency just started. But hey, Jerome, thank you so much for coming along on the live stream. Thank you for everyone who submitted questions. Thanks for everyone who was all up in the chat. Love you guys. And again, we couldn't do this without you, and we definitely do not take that lightly. So thank you very much. Skull, production value.